What if I told you that the most effective form of revenge isn't noise, spectacle, or a public breakdown, it's silence? The smartest way to undo someone who hurt you isn't with a heated reply, a viral takedown, or even a dramatic confrontation. It's by becoming fundamentally untouchable. That's not surrender. It's a quiet kind of strength, a deliberate discipline. And by the time you finish listening to this, you'll have a clear playbook for how to use it in life. You'll essentially meet two kinds of people, those who build you up and those who chip away at you. The people who wound you don't always do it loudly. More often they hurt you softly and slowly through betrayal, manipulation, cold indifference, gossip, or by pretending to care when they never did. That kind of hurt cuts deep. It doesn't fade quickly. It lingers. It shapes how you move through future relationships. It leaves emotional scars, ones you carry like a private ache. When people are hurt this way, the first instinct is predictable. Lash out. Call them out. Get even. Prove to the world you were wronged. But the real strategic comeback, the one that changes the trajectory of your life, isn't born from rage, it's born from stillness and growth. It's the decision to stop feeding someone else's power, to stop serving as the audience for their story. The ancients who practiced stoic discipline framed it clearly. You don't always control what happens to you, but you control how you respond. That control is everything. So when someone tries to wound you, whether with words, passive aggression, or betrayal, you actually have two broad options. Give them the reaction they want and stay entangled, or step out of the battlefield and invest that energy into becoming better, stronger, more centered. Most people confuse silence with surrender, but true silence is often the loudest thing you can do. Picture it. Someone betrays you, spreads rumors, or abandons you in a moment of need. They expect a reaction. They expect chaos. They're counting on drama, but instead you do nothing. You disappear, not into despair, but into a life. You start building, you exercise. You read, you master your craft. You nurture relationships that actually respect and uplift you. You invest in your mental health, your career, your daily disciplines. You become a person who glows from within. No explanations, no emotional broadcasts, no petty counters, just steady, forward motion. You're not crying out, you're not begging for closure, you're simply thriving. In that state, you become unreachable. Their leverage evaporates. Silence isn't passive, it's tactical. It forces the other person to confront their own actions without the fuel of your reaction. When they can't extract a response from you, their ability to manipulate or to feed their ego dwindles. They're left with the consequences of their choices, and often with nothing but the echo of what they lost. That's the Stoic approach, not to retaliate, but to outgrow. You don't defeat them with spectacle. You erase them from your emotional world by living a life they can't touch. Real revenge, the kind that matters, isn't about inflicting pain back. It's about making sure they can't hurt you again. It's building a life so full, so disciplined, and so joyful that the person who once had power over you becomes a powerless footnote. React with chaos and they win. Respond with steady progress and they crumble because they depended on your attention, your volatility, your weakness to feed themselves. Cut that supply and they're left starving. Philosophers have put it simply, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond that defines you. So what will your response be? Will you spiral into public rants, impulsive texts you'll regret, or social media tirades that only prolong the pain? Or will you rise into someone who doesn't need closure, who doesn't need to be understood, who doesn't need them at all? The latter is the posture of people who win in the long run. Think of public figures who've suffered betrayal, but who said nothing, who returned months or years later, better, more composed, glowing with success. Their silence spoke louder than any interview ever could. That composed return is dominance. It's quiet poise. It's proof that the loss never defined them. That's the outcome Stoicism aims for, not vindictiveness, but elevation. And here's a final freeing idea. When you stop obsessing over revenge, The world tends to handle justice in its own way. Cause and effect are at work whether you see them or not. While you invest in your healing, someone who repeatedly hurts others often gets trapped by the same patterns. They replay the behaviors that alienate people, and life gradually narrows their options. Meanwhile, you expand yours. Your growth becomes the justice you didn't have to engineer. So next time someone tries to break you, choose the harder, smarter path. Walk away not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Don't explain, don't beg, don't fight vanish into your purpose. Put your energy where it pays dividends, into your health, your craft, your peace. Become someone so focused on progress, so anchored in purpose, that looking back doesn't even register. That silence, that disciplined descent is the most stoic, the most savage, and the most powerful way to dismantle anyone who thought they could dismantle you. And when they see you again, months or years later, what you've become will be your loudest statement.